Well, David King here says great second half performance, created a lot of chances, moving the ball faster and getting more balls into the box. So important to have Louza back. He's the important ingredient we've been missing the last few games. Welcome back to Where Hornets Walk. I'm joined by Rio and Luke as always. No Mark today, but we're pushing through. And coming up today, we've got is Louza the difference to this Watford team? Obviously, we've had him out for so long. He's come back after a suspension. We've got 3 points after a iffy one at Millwall. That starting 11, I don't know if anyone else raised a few eyebrows when they saw it. I definitely raised probably both of mine. And should the playoffs be extended, a big one in the EFL circles at the moment, they might extend the playoffs to have an extra 2 teams. So here we go then. What do you think of the game, Rio?
I think for first half, it was just a bit of a dull affair, really. Semedo missed a couple of good chances. Petrie put a couple of good balls into the box. Hull, I think, after they scored, they were on top for the last 20 minutes of the second half. I think they had a good chance from McBurney and Caben and Pollock put a good block together. So we're lucky to only go 1-0 down at half time, really. But then second half, I think, yeah, we did deserve to win. We had quite a few chances on another day. Could have been more. Pollock had a header which hit the bar. Semedo nearly missed an open goal, it looked like. So, yeah, we got the 3 points. That's the most important thing. But I think we've still got a lot more questions to answer with this Watford team and manager.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, coming into half time, I was miffed. I mean, it was telling, of course, the chance coming from the rookery towards Paolo. But no, as said, David King says second half far better than the first. Was Louza sort of the big difference, Luke?
Yeah, he was the difference. He's always been the difference pretty much every game for us as we're used to now. But he was brilliant. That first half was terrible. We were quite lucky actually to get in a half time and only be 1-0 down. We should have been about 3-0 down. And I was really shocked that again he didn't make any changes to the shape. But what he did was in terms of actually player positions where we speak about Louza, is he actually started to play Louza a bit more forward. And he let Mendy sort of do what he usually does, and I think that's what helped. He had that more of that creativeness within our team, and he was more like a loser that we knew under Cleverly, where he was spraying balls a bit wider, especially once we did get the subs on. I do think that was the best call he's had in a while, where he's just thought, right, we're not going to play loser this deep. He's not getting enough out of anyone here, so we'll just play him a little bit forward, and that was a real change. But I still don't agree with this setup at all, and I don't think it's going to be working for the next few games. And I think we were quite lucky actually that it did work with losing the second half.
Yeah, I mean, it all really started with that lineup, didn't it? That first half, I think for everyone, they thought the writing was kind of on the wall for the game. I mean, I know I myself, I saw it and I couldn't be positive at all because, I mean, look at it here. It's baffling. Some of the tweets, Bar, Cipriani, Kurmgard on the bench. Yeah, he's 100% getting sacked, the clown. Good joke. Now release the real lineup and what the actual. So, yeah, I mean, I can definitely agree with all 3 of those. With how well, especially Cipriano, I think that's the big one for me. But Bar's obviously started on the bench a few games, and it's clear that he has some different role for him to play, whether it's not him starting all the time. And I mean, and that's got the fans riled up enough. But I just think benching your best player when, or sort of informed player, so to speak, when you're having a rough start and in a rough patch, it was just baffling to me. And I think in that first half, I'm not sure if you guys agree, but although we had loads of the ball, but progressing it forward was so slow and lethargic. We couldn't have troubled Hull if we'd had 80% possession. And I think that's really where that key with Louza coming forward ended up helping the second half. I mean, what did you think of the lineup, Rio, when you saw it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it couldn't get any more baffling than the lineup against Millwall. It can. And yeah, he put 2 right backs on the pitch when I know Bowler didn't have a great game via Millwall, but Gaki did all right in that position, but it was hard crossing for him on his weak foot. I think Bowler would have been ideal there. And Semedo, I thought for the most part against Millwall, he wasn't good and he hasn't started to life well, but he did get a golden assist. I think he could have got more. He had so many chances, and maybe Kieran God would have tapped a few more of them in. And I do agree, maybe not with Kiembe of all people. I think we do need a bit more progressive in midfield, whether that's putting Vata in the 10 or something. But I do agree. I think the balance of our midfield with Mendy, Cipriano, and Louza. There's no real driver of the ball there, and I guess Kiembe can, on his day, do it to a decent extent. But I wouldn't have dropped Cipriano really, because we really missed that physicality when Hull just going through us in the midfield, which actually led to their goal. I think Cipriano, he's 6'3". I think he would have been way better to have in midfield than Mendy, in my opinion. And on the bench, Bar, he is good from the bench, but he's barely getting an opportunity from the bench. Paolo's bringing him on after Sissoko even. I mean, if you're bringing Bar on at 60, 65, 70 minutes, yeah, that's fair. But I don't think he came on until the 83rd on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, again, the rookery made its feelings known towards that too. There were chances of Bar from I think the 60th minute, and I mean, and like you say, he came on so late. We were fortunate to get the result in the end, and he did obviously bring him on to do a bit of the dirty work to see it out. But I equally agree that sentiment. I thought it was baffling. I mean, a change that wasn't a surprise, of course, was Baxter coming in with Celtic going into concussion protocol. I mean, I don't know what you made of his performance, Luke. I thought he was fairly solid. Couldn't really do too much more for the goal.
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant. Again, just stepping in well for Selvik, who was quite poor against Mill with his one chance he had. And it's good to have that we've got a backup keeper that we all have faith in. It's very rare nowadays that you get a goalkeeper where your first choice is out, injured, or suspended, and you kind of bit, oh god, I don't want to him to be in the sticks. But he was brilliant. He was really solid, good on the ball as well, which is something that Watford fans get a bit nervous about how players are on the ball, but I thought he was really good. Overall, really pleased, and he might be even pushing for Southwick's role if he keeps going on like that.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I would like to have a talk about, because I don't know if you guys have watched it, but I'm assuming you have, because it's sort of left Watford social media and gone to the rest of social media.
God.
But have we all seen the post-match dressing room team talk from Paolo? I mean, in a time where the manager's under pressure by a lot of the fan base, and I'm sure the club have seen it all, very, very odd thing to put out, don't you think, Rio?
Yeah, I don't know how it got put out. You'd think that'd be one of the things, in when they do Amazon documentaries on a few of the big six clubs, that it's kind of a fly on the wall thing, and that something that the club themselves wouldn't really want to be aired, but Amazon pushing for it. Yeah, it just looks so dead in there. All the players looking at the ground, not even looking at him. He needs a translator after 30 seconds. But I think the big part is, I'm not here to make friends. I think our players work best when the manager is their friend, to be honest. I mean, two of our most successful managers in recent years, Cleverley did a solid job. He was a mate, and Zisco was just vibes SC. We just did well under him, even though he wasn't the greatest manager. And considering our squad is so young, we've got so many 19 to 23, 24-year-olds, I think they do really need an arm over their shoulder, whereas obviously these senior players don't. But those young players, they obviously, confidence goes up and down, and yeah, it wasn't the most inspiring thing, and you would have thought we lost after that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've banged on about Paolo a lot, but it is sort of that talking point of the minute. After a good window where we think we've got a squad that is going to push further than the Watford teams of recent seasons, he's kind of the thing that has to bring it all together. And I mean, we've had weird starting 11s, we've had now this video. Where are you at with Paolo, Luke? How do you give him longer? Is there a time frame you give him? What's your sort of thoughts on where we're at with the manager?
Yeah, I remember at the start of the season, I said that I'd give him 5 games and I'll sort of start to decide then. And I've already kind of had enough of him, to be honest with you. I think the Millwall game was the pinnacle of it. And when we went 1-0 down, I think everyone was just like, just get him gone now. I really don't really like him, to be honest. I don't think he's done that much engagement with the fans. And Jot, this is really, really sort of a bit pathetic of me, but Jot, he doesn't dress smart. He just turns up in a tracksuit and a pair of Skechers, man. You put a core zip on or something. Do you know what I mean? It really annoys me, something like that. But that video as well, like we mentioned, it's actually more demotivating. We just won. You'd think we would have just nicked a point at the end the way he's gone on. And I actually watched one of Cleverley's clips from a similar one he did last season. And I know one of them was against Luton, but there was one against another team. I can't remember who it was. But everyone was so excited. And it was more of an actual, we've all put a team effort in. This was more a bit professional, like you're in a meeting. And it really was demotivating. And and it's not helping with how it's going. With what the situation we believe that Paolo's in, he's under pressure. And I think if we keep sort of saying, "Oh, I wonder what's going on behind the scenes." We've seen that from first hand, and that's after a win. So imagine what it's like at half time when we're trying to change up, situations. Obviously, the English is a bit of a barrier, and I think that might be quite tough for players as well. Where you sort of thinking, "Who am I listening to? He's not motivating me because he's not talking as loud." The translator, it's tough. It is very tough. I'm not a fan of him at all, and I do think if we don't pick up 4 points the next two games, I think he's gone. Because you've got international break, we can say, well, we can reset now, get a new manager, and have a week at least with the players. Yeah, if he doesn't get a point against Portsmouth and has to beat Oxford, I think he's done.
Yeah. Rio, you are Gino Pozzo. You have the decision right now. Do you give him the 2 games?
Well, the next game, by the time this airs, will probably be the day after. So I think he will get to the international break. I'd be interested to have seen what would have happened if we did lose to Hull, because you'd think maybe he'd make the change then. But I think he'll see it out to the international break. As Luke said, I think we need 4 points at the minimum. Like, Portsmouth aren't even doing great at the moment. Sheffield Wednesday went there and won. That says a lot. But it's annoying that we've wasted a whole pre-season with Paolo, and pre-season is for getting to know your best team, and he's doing it 7-8 games into the season. And by the time he gets sacked, said previously to you guys, that run we have from after the October international break, I mean, Sheffield United under Wilder, they'll improve, and then to probably Birmingham away start December, we're throwing the new manager, whoever that may be, if they come in, into the hardest run of the season. I mean, yeah, it's not great, and then he'll have to find out who his best players are.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all to be seen. Of course, we're recording this Monday night. It wouldn't be the most positive thing in the world for him to be gone by the time this comes out. But no, I think I agree with that sentiment. I think he will get to the international break. I believe he'll be gone then. But it never gets old, and it's always a bit bonkers with this football club. So on to a point that sort of come out in the news recently. The EFL are exploring expanding the playoffs to have 2 extra teams in it. Now, obviously, as a club whose aim supposedly is the playoffs, an extra 2 places you'd think would be welcome. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on it. So, Luke, do you think it's a good move from the EFL?
No, I don't agree with it. I think it's just, again, more for money, more excitement in the league. I think we're one of the leagues, us and the EFL, which has actually kept it quite traditional. We've never really changed anything in terms of rules or regulations within the last 10 years. When you think about, VAR's introduced in the Prem now, which I think is completely ruining the game. I think if you add an extra playoffs positions in it, I think it sort of takes that excitement out of actually pushing for the playoffs, because there's now 6 places. 4 is not that many at all, and you have teams who are around that 7th, 8th position who are, don't get me wrong, very close to in quality, but I don't think there's any point in changing it, because it will still not make it any more exciting. I think it will make it less exciting because there'll be more games now. I personally don't think it's a good idea at all, and if they are going to do it, they might as well do it in the rest of the leagues, because what's the point of doing the Championship? It's a bit unfair on League One, League Two, because it's under the same regulations at the end of the day. It's under the EFL. You can finish 8th in League One and go, well, I haven't got to play us, but if I was in the Championship, I would be. I think it's a bit of a farce, just more for money, and for people who don't really actually care about the Championship.
Yeah, Rio?
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a fan of it. To be fair, with the playoffs, the first leg is usually a bit boring, because the away team will just try and get a draw 0-0 back to their place, and then that's where it'll open up. But I just think letting 8th place into the playoffs isn't good, because you saw 6th place last season, Bristol City. They were playing Sheffield United, who had 24 more points than them, and they got absolutely hammered. And think about how bad we were that second half of last season, where we were the worst formed team in the league. If we had 2 or 3 more wins under our belt, less probably, we come 8th place. And imagine Sissoko at right wing, Kiembe up front, and Ince at left wing, up against Sheffield United or whoever came 4th in Championship. It's just the competitiveness. It's basically mid-table and you're getting playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll echo your opinions. I don't think it's a move they should be prioritising. I think, with all the issues we have in the EFL, I think they should maybe look at making a better fit and proper owners test before they go and change the league format.
Referees.
For sure.
But this is English football for you, and I would be against it unless it meant that we were guaranteed in one of the places. So, moving on to a new little thing we're doing. Every week, we're going to go through the whole alphabet and we are going to pick the first Watford thing that comes to mind. So, obviously, we are starting at the start. We are starting at A. And I just want the first thing, beginning with A, that pops into your head that screams to you Watford FC or is part of the lore of Watford FC, so to speak. So, Rio, go for it.
Oh, you picked me before Luke. I don't know. I was quite young when Amrabat was playing, so I'll go with James Banker. I think he's one of the only players of A in our surname right now. Yeah.
Fantastic. So we've got James Banquet, Luke.
I'm going for Amrabat. Well, it's the surname, but yeah, I'm going to go for him. Really remembered him well from that sort of first few seasons in the Prem. Wasn't that good of a player, as I remember rightly, but he was just a name. He had a good chant as well, and he had all that stuff at the World Cup as well, which I think he's more remembered for than his days at Watford with the VAR which I think is still true, which we just mentioned.
And everyone thought when Man United signed Sophie and Amrabat, they were signing the one who played for Watford.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of a different player. Yeah, on James Banker, I think maybe he should be getting more minutes. As we said with Paulo, lots of our better players from last season and the ones we signed in the summer are on the bench. And I think Pollock did have a decent game on Saturday, actually. I don't know who for, because Caben's been a bit shaky recently, but we saw a Banker at the end of last season when he came in January to about April. He is our best centre-back. I mean, Stoke away, he was phenomenal, last-ditch challenges and everything. I just think certain players at the club, like a Banquer, maybe even Dumbia, Tuomo, they've just been petered out there, not getting a look in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I'll cap it off with a hat-trick of players. The first one that came to my head was Agraf Lazar. And, we thank Agraf Lazar for ruining the first derby back at Kenilworth Road in 16 years or whatever it was by being an absolute idiot. One of the Watford players in memory, so to speak.
I think with that Luton away game where Ashraf Lazar conceded the penalty, didn't we get promoted a game or two after? So if we were a bit better, we could have actually won promotion at Kenilworth Road. What would you guys have felt about that? Because we wouldn't have been in the ground. I don't think it would have been that special, to be honest. But what were your thoughts?
It still would have been hilarious. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it would be funny, but then it'd be like one of those things everyone would just be like, imagine if there was fans.
Yeah.
That would be good, though. That would be good.
And I mean, last bit from us, we are now obviously at the 29th of September. So by the time we play again, September will be over. Player of the month for September. Before the club get on it, let's get on it first. We'll start with you, Luke. Who is your player of the month for September?
Is there anyone?
Yeah, is there anyone?
Genuinely. We've had Blackburn, Blackburn, Millwall and Hull in that time.
Blackburn, Millwall, Hull.
Can
I pass it to you, Rio? I have a think. Do you know who you've got?
I don't know anyone. I'm going to go with Max Elaine. I know this is really controversial, but Luke didn't like his performance. There is no one.
No, I'm the only one who said that. Everyone else on Twitter is raving about him. Maybe I'm just being a bit picky.
I don't think there's literally anyone else to pick because Iran Kinder, he's been lively, but I'm going to go Lane. I think he was getting a bit of heat because he was playing left back against Blackburn, and I think against Millwall he was solid. Same against Hull. I think we've got a good centre back there, good on the ball, and we need someone good on the ball. And he's got good ideas trying to play players behind. There's really no one to pick. I'm just waffling. Any ideas, Luke, or no one?
No, I've got mine after a long time of thinking, just because it has been tough. He didn't even start on Saturday, which we were all fuming about. But Kiprianu, he's been, like we said, every week. He's been about at least an 8 out of 10 every week. He's our only sort of player who we know who's gonna be just work hard, tackles flying in. He's just been brilliant. He's just such a breath of fresh air for us. and I can't believe he put on the team sheet on Saturday. I don't know what Paolo was thinking. He's been brilliant. He's still, I think, my signing of the summer, other than obviously Irakunda. But yeah, I'm going to go for Cipriano, and he probably will be that every month for me if we have a terrible month.
Who's yours, Aaron?
I second Luke's. It was always going to be Cipriano for me. Yeah, you might as well just replay Luke's again, because he's just a bit of an engine in that midfield, and I think that was just what made it all the more frustrating seeing him not start on Saturday, because I mean, especially without Louza. Obviously, he come back for Millwall, but before that, without Louza, he was the only thing in that midfield. He's basically a one-man midfield for some of those games. And yeah, I think as long as he keeps it up, he's going to be a mainstay in that team. And if he isn't, then maybe we should think about who's making the team selections. But that is all from us. Thank you as always. If you've got to this point, we'd love to keep doing this content for you. We love, giving our opinion on Watford and hearing yours in the comments too. So if you watch, drop a comment. What do you think of Paolo Pezzolano? Do you think he's going to last these 2 games? Do you know what? He needs longer. We're being a bit too hasty. And as always, we're trying to get to our 200 subs. Have we quite made it, Luke, Rio?
11 away, I think. That's pretty
11 away. So if you're brand new, you've not pressed that subscribe button yet, please give us a subscribe. We'd love to get to 200 and, keep going. So join us next week. We'll be hopefully in a better mood, but we'll be talking Pompey and Oxford and looking forward to the rest of the season. We've got a hard run coming up. Keep with us. Thanks for watching.